All right.
This meeting is being recorded.
Good evening and welcome to Slam the Gavel, the show that tells it all regarding family court, other court issues, as well as CPS. I am your host, Marianne Petrie. Bradley's mother, Narky Skolin, passed away 3 months ago. He is autistic and needs structured routine and therapies he receives for his autism 6 days a week. However, Italy just entrusted Bradley to the Italian Social Services. If he is ruled to go back, he will face the next 3 to 4 years in the Italian foster care system where he can't speak nor understand the language. He will be taken away from the only family he has ever known. And please call Governor Hochul, New York State, at 518-474-8390. And please voice your concerns to keep Bradley here in the United States. Governor Hochul, 518-474-8390. Hashtag keep Bradley safe. I do have a return guest. I have Deborah Hunter back on. She was last on the podcast January 3rd, 2023. Season 4, Episode 3, where she spoke out on her son's case, CPS racism at its finest. Now, she was talking about her son's journey with Alicia and their baby Miles, who was born at 34 weeks. The baby was then absconded by CPS shortly after Alicia's passing from a brief illness. Miles was then legally kidnapped, taken away from the father, and put into foster care. Now, on several occasions when the father has gone for visitations, Miles has had a bruised lip, bronchitis, respiratory infections, swollen feet, and diaper rash, and then had to have tubes put in his ears, as well as on another visit, Miles had a cut or a wound in his skin after the father removed the diaper. And I'm very sorry about this, Deborah Hunter, but where are you at with your case right now?
Good morning, everyone. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Oh boy. So we went to court on January 5th. That was our last court date before I left Oklahoma. At that time, Judge Corley spoke and said that there would be a return date on March the 3rd. Get my words right here. On March the 2nd, at which time my son went to court in front of Judge Corley. And they went from going over the previous hearings to the present time. At this point, they're trying to process termination of my son's rights to his son and put him in permanency with the Alicia's brother and sister-in-law. So we got a continuance to May the 22nd. And I'm so excited because at this time, Todd now will have his jury trial. And this is something that he's been asking for since the beginning of this process, to have a jury trial. So now on May 22nd, there will be a jury selection, and then they will continue from there. I don't know of any other dates at this particular time. So I spoke to what happened on March the 2nd. I wasn't there. I'm back in New York. I came back July 13th. Since my return, then Miles had an accident again on February 9th when my son went to visit him. The foster care mom said, "Oh, this happened yesterday. He's got this scar over the left side of his face, around his eye. And these cuts that he's receiving at this present time, they're going to be permanent on his face." So I'm a little concerned. So at that visitation, because Todd always sets it up so that I can see Miles during the visit. And I was asking the caseworker, I said, "So what's going on? What did the doctor say about this incident with Miles?" He says, "Well, the foster mom said that he hit his face on the table that's not a table hit.
Mm-hmm.
Then it turned into, well, he hit his face on the dresser. So which is it, the table or the dresser?
Uh-huh.
So then I asked Mr. Rhodes, I said, so, okay, so she took him to the ER, and what did they do? And he will examine him. The doctor said if there's not any further swelling of the face or fever, or if he says that he has a headache, what 1-year-old in this world that anybody knows of, and please tell me if you do know, that can say, I have a headache, I need aspirin? What
Right.
1-year-old? I mean, I know these COVID new babies, they're doing different things, out of the norm of what we're used to seeing our new babies do. But I don't think they're talking and asking for an aspirin, saying I have a headache. So anyway, let's move on. So that day, my son was really upset, and I asked Mr. Rose, well, are they going to do an MRI? Are they going to do some further testing? Because now this is like the third time he's hit his head. The tissues are still soft. The bones are still soft in the skull. Any little fracture can happen. Mr. Rose told me, no, the doctor said he's just fine. So I says, okay. So of course I called the police department that day. They directed me to, they hung up on me. And so then I called the sheriff's department. They hung up on me. So then I called DHS. And I spoke with a very nice young lady. I explained to her that this has to stop. This is now my 4th complaint to your agency. And I'm being told with the other ones, either it's no reason for them to go out to check it out, or it's just fine. That's not the legal terminology. I can't think of it right now. But I made such a stink about the director of DHS. I talked about Mr. Hohenschel. I requested a meeting. The last time I was in Oklahoma, I requested a meeting to meet with Mr. Hohenschel, Ms. Burdock, the supervisor, Mr. Carl Andy Rhodes, the social worker, Todd, and myself, to tell me why my grandchild is still in this woman's care being assaulted. So I'm still waiting. So like I said, we have a continuous date from that. So the outcome of my when I filed for custody, temporary custody for my grandson, and my documents came back stating that I was not eligible for, they denied me for the custody of Miles for this reason. Wait a minute. I got the wrong paper. But anyway, they denied me because I said in my statement that all I want to do is get my grandson and Todd out of Oklahoma, get my grandson to New York. And because I didn't say Miles would be coming with me to New York and Todd would be going back to the home and to their land in North Carolina, they denied me the custody. So, and then they say that I cannot appeal it, but I'm going to appeal it anyway. I've just been really tired because this trip was really so exhausting that, I had to come back home to my grandson here and take care of things here with him. So it is a lot going on.
Hey, Deb, what was their reason for not letting you appeal? Because you're always allowed to appeal, I thought.
They just said on the application, it just says, once a decision has been made, you are not eligible to reapply for kinship. And I can't really believe that that's true. That can't you can't stop me from doing that.
So you can't have kinship? Say that.
The custody.
Then you can't appeal. That like makes no sense.
It doesn't. I mean, why would you? Because of a statement that I said? Everything else on that application checked out fine. everything.
Mm-hmm.
But the crazy part is nobody never interviewed any of my people that I had on the list for contact. Nobody came to my home to, see what my lifestyle is like.
Mm-hmm.
If it is a acceptable place for Miles to come to, if the apartment is safe. I have a 1-bedroom apartment. It's a large apartment. I mean, it's not like he's a grown person. He's going to be walking around. He needs space. He's a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So I have plenty of room for crib and here and everything that he will need as his process happens until things get better.
Mm-hmm.
But they denied me. They just straight out denied me. In the application, they lied about my grandson that's here with me, which I have to take that up, I believe, with civil court, saying that, Corey has been here with me and he's had some behavioral issues, which he has, because a lot has gone on for him. And all of this taking of the children back in 2020 on their land at gunpoint with assault rifles, and all the children all were gone for 7 days. That's horrific to have to go through that, and then have to travel to Oklahoma to try to retrieve the VIC-5 with a court order. It was just a lot. So in this application that Mr. Rose wrote up, he told a lie on Corey and said that my grandson is autistic. Corey has never been autistic, never in his whole life. So that's a lie. So if you're going to lie about things like that and try to defame someone's character, when the time comes for him to get a job or go to school or whatever, and they see this information in his applications or whatever, that's not good. So I have to get that straight now. I
I'm
have to
so
see
sorry.
for that. Also, they want to give Miles to Alicia's brother and his wife. But in the process, on December the 14th, they made a post. Welcome baby Miles to the family. He's now with DJ, who is Alicia's brother. Well, we saw Miles on December 15th. So how is it at all possible that you have him? And so they have a GoFundMe, a Cash App to get money. They want all kind of baby items, diapers, and they have a whole list of things in this post that they made. I don't know if it was on Instagram or just a messaging to the family, but we started getting phone calls. Well, where's Miles? We thought Miles was with Todd. And I'm like, yes, he's still in Oklahoma. He's still in foster care. So to me, that's intent to commit fraud, because you're trying to retrieve monies and items for someone that is not in your care. So these are the people that you want my grandson to go to, that tell lies straight out the gate. I'm not accepting that. So I'm going to investigate that as well. So in my process of speaking to DHS, when I call the hotline and I explained to the young lady, I need to speak to someone higher up in your office. I need to speak to the director of the state or whoever runs your organization. I don't want to talk to no other person now in Payne County. So she took all my information. She says, okay. So Wednesday, February 22nd, I get a phone call and I'm like, okay, I think I need to answer this because it's an Oklahoma number. And I answered the call, and sure enough, it was Mr. Hohenschel, the director of Payne County DHS or CPS.
I'm sorry, how do I spell his name?
It's capital HOENSHELL.
Okay.
And his first name is Justin.
Okay.
So he has been back and forth, our conversation. He's been back and forth in the very beginning with Todd and Alicia, having conversations with Todd. I explained to him that because of your people going to Alicia back in January, a week after she had her baby, had a C-section, and your people, Miss Armstrong, and a lady by the name of Miss Olson, went in that girl's room and harassed her. That was harassment.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you doing that? And someone is not well. So it started with them, and then it trickled over to Amanda LaHue, who started all this commotion out there in Oklahoma,
Mm-hmm.
lying about the weight of Miles, the time of which he was born. They said he was born at 30 weeks. He was not born at 30 weeks. He was born at 32 weeks. We was trying to get him to 34 weeks, but he couldn't make it
Mm-hmm.
because Alicia was just too sick. But he was born a healthy baby. There was
Mm-hmm.
nothing wrong with that child until he left his father's arms and went to foster care. All my son was doing was giving him donated breast milk. I know
Mm-hmm.
I'm repeating myself, but this is the issue. Donated breast milk, and he was putting coconut oil in it to fortify and enhance his strength. So that seems to be an issue with them, but they were saying he wasn't feeding them at all. He's failure to thrive. Saying that he lost weight. It's just a lot of lies have been taking place.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Brandy Watts, the nurse practitioner, she's worked in the NICU for 13, 14 years before she started doing what she's doing now. So therefore, a baby cannot come home until he's at least 4 pounds. A baby has to be able to suck, to
Mm-hmm.
take the bottle, and all of these different things. They have to be able to poop. As I said earlier on, they had a big poop party in the NICU because he, went to the bathroom on his own.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things that the baby has to do. The temperature has to be right before they can even leave that hospital. He was good to go. So why would you think that he just wasn't doing these things when you took him? So had a long conversation with Mr. Hohenschel. I told him that I requested a meeting. He said he would look into it for me and get back to me. I do want to say for the record, I asked him, did you tell my son that he was murdering his child? And he said, no, that's not what I said. What he said was, and I interpreted it wrong. So I want to publicly apologize to him. I've been trying to reach out to him to tell him that what I said was incorrect. Todd did not say that. What Mr. Hohenschel did say is that if his workers had not intervened and gone to the home when they did, Miles might not have made it to this point. And I'm like, okay. So that was on Wednesday, February 22nd. I spoke with him. The very next day, my phone rang again. And it was Mr. Troy Abbey. He spells his last name Aebi, but it's pronounced Abbey. He is the assistant director to the state. He works under the director for the state of Oklahoma. I'm trying to see what her name is. So he says, I would not be able to speak with her at that time, but I did speak with her. Her name is Deborah Shropshire. And she is the director of the whole state of Oklahoma for DHS. So he and I had a very, very long conversation, and I just went from A to Z. I know he has really nothing to do with what Judge Corley decisions that he makes in his courtroom, but he can oversee his workers.
Mm-hmm.
And I explained to him from Mr. Hohenschel on down to Ms. Burdock to Amanda LaHue, how they've, gone on in the courtroom and outwardly purged themselves, and Judge Corley did nothing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. So how does that work? I don't understand that. So anyway, he told me he's going to get back to me. He said, Ms. Hunter, this is going to take me a little while to, research this information. There's some things I can't tell you. So I guess I need to make a list of things and figure out of my list what he won't be able to tell me. So that was a good thing. I felt good about that. What I intend to do is to get the pictures together of everything and attach the pictures to my letter that I'm going to send back to him in response to his phone call, so that he can actually see what I'm talking about from my end and not just from his workers' end. And I will also send the same thing to Mr. Holenshaw. So I prayerfully that, these things will open up a door and shed some light on how these people are so mean. And I told him, I said, your people are mean. I said, there's no reason to be mean to someone or talk nasty to someone because you have this position. Somebody assigns your check and you can lose your job tomorrow. So you need to be careful as to how you speak to people. So I leave the courtroom, as I said, Todd and Mr. Holmes, and went in front of Judge Corley last week, and Judge Corley put him in contempt of court. Why? Because his headdress. He always wears a headdress. I always wear a headdress in court, but for some reason, this particular day, I guess the court clerk decided that she wanted to harass Todd about his headdress. And of course, Todd speaking on, I haven't done anything wrong. I just want my son back. And Judge Corley put him in contempt for about an hour or two. They were just mean and nasty. So we're looking into seeing what we can do about that. Because you just can't put a person in contempt of court. You have to have a valid reason. But being a judge, you can do whatever you want to do because they feel like I have the power. So anyway, that's where we're at with that.
So the clerk of court got upset he was wearing a headdress.
Yes. So when I called the courthouse, because I've been calling around, I couldn't find my son. I was kind of worried because I know how he and Judge Corley can be in the courtroom. And I called the clerk's office. Well, I called the jail. And I spoke to Sergeant Anderson, and he's a really, really nice person. And he said, Ms. Hunter, he said he was here, but he's gone. He said, so call the clerk's office if you want to get information. So I called the clerk's office, and the young lady said to me, well, you need to call the bailiff. She says, I'll give you her number. And this is the judge's chambers. So I called and I spoke with the bailiff, and she said to me, well, Ms. Hunter, she says, I wasn't in the courtroom. She says, I'm never in the courtroom when it's in session. And I said, you're not? She says, no, I'm not. And so I had to think about that a little bit. And I remembered she comes in, she opens up the case. She comes in, she opens up, but then she leaves. And then whoever is doing the court reporting, it comes in. So I asked her, I says, well, I want to speak to Judge Corley. She said, well, you can't speak to him now. He's in the civil case. He's still in court. I says, okay. I said, so what's going on with this case right now? And she was the person that explained to me in detail as to May 22nd is the trial. We'll start the trial. At that time, it'll be jury hearing and jury selection. And then they'll move on from there. And I asked her, well, how long does that process take? She says, it could be sometimes a day, 2 days. It could be a week. She said, it all depends on, what's being presented, what documents are being presented to the court, and how long the jury needs to make decisions after they go over the information. So I said, that's pretty cool. So I'm glad about that. I'm really happy about that, because that means that it's not just my son, Mr. Hunter, Brenda Nip, the assistant district attorney, Mr. Seaberger, who is Miles, is a guardian ad litem, which he makes very rare visits to see him in the courtroom. And of course, Judge Corley is somebody else now on the outside that can look in and hear the case and see it it in its entirety for your own eyes, a different opinion.
Mhm.
So I'm happy about that. As for my son, he's up and down, of
Yeah,
course.
I can imagine.
Um, we're coming up on Miles just had a birthday January 21st, so he's a year old now. Cute as a button. He's standing up and he's talking, and now he's saying dada, and that's the worst part of all of this, that he's identifying that this is my father, dada. He says it to him all the time. So it's kind of hurtful.
Hmm.
But I just put it in God's hands
Hmm.
because
So
he
hard.
knows all. He sees all. And
Mhm.
if you pray, he does answer prayer.
Oh, he does.
I can give so many testimonies to God answering prayer.
Hmm.
So it works. And when you have two or more people or another person in the room or in that realm praying along with you for the same purpose, um, it's even better.
It is. I thank you for coming on. Is there anything you want to say? I don't want to cut you off.
This is kind of hard. I've been grieving a lot because this is the time where Alicia really started getting sick. Um,
Mm.
this is March the 1st is when Miles actually came home from the hospital.
Hmm.
And that was an exciting moment. We have all kind of pictures of Todd feeding Miles and, you know, doing those type of things with him. And I saw Miles every single day up until they snatched him out of his father's arms on April the 20th. So they can't say, and they don't want me to speak because I know the truth. As I said, I have documents from every day that baby was in the hospital in the NICU until he went home. But they don't want me to speak because they know I know the truth. So as I said, this is coming up on the time Miles just had the birthday. It was kind of hard celebrating the birthday with him in that place, but we made it
Uh-huh.
happen. It's also coming up on Alicia passing on April the 6th next
Hmm.
month. So it's just hard right now. It's really
Hmm.
hard. And then the next week or two after, then Miles being taken illegally for no
Hmm.
reason. So
Hmm.
that's where we are. I do keep in touch with the older children. The Vic Five, I don't hear or see from them,
Hmm.
and it's kind of sad.
Hmm.
So maybe this summer they'll go to North Carolina, and I'll be able to see them at that time. I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry you're going
I
through
need
all
my
that.
grandson. I need the baby. Need the
Right.
baby.
The baby needs to be with you because he'd be a lot safer.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what's up with these caseworkers that they just do one-sided interviews because that happened to me as well. I
Oh,
don't know what it is with them, but your case and my case are not the first where these people just do one-sided interviews. And as far as perjuring themselves on the stand, your case and my case are not alone.
wow.
Yeah.
Nothing happens, or they get like a little slap on the hand, but you keep on going with the session in court. I mean, Judge Crowley needs to be taken down. That's all I got to say. He
Yeah,
really does.
he needs to be off the bench. How do I spell his name?
His name is Philip Corley. C as in Charles, Orley.
Okay. Yeah, people like that need to be off the bench if they're just, I think they know these caseworkers are perjuring because I know my judge did.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, if they're just doing a one-sided interview, then they're already lying. The lying's
Mm-hmm.
already happening on the stand. Now, if they truthfully said, well, we interviewed, Miss Deborah Hunter, we interviewed all these other people, and this is what we found, then be truthful. But I really think they should just be abolished and along with family court. It's just so inept and not run. It's a broken system. It will always
It really
be broken.
is.
Even
It
though,
really is broken.
yeah, people say, well, no, it's running the way they want it to, like a finely oiled machine. But no, I still say it's broken. Yes, they're getting money out of it. I understand the incentive part, but I'm tired of it.
I'm tired too.
Mm-hmm.
As I said to you, when we first spoke to set this up for today, nobody could have ever told me that my family would be going through this.
Right.
Because I'd have told them, you lying. That's
Mm-hmm.
not going to happen. You know, I watched my family leave out of here 2 years ago, happy and ready to move on with their lives and build a safe place for their children where everyone could have peace of mind
Mm-hmm.
and live on their land and work their land. And what folks don't know, because they were so busy rushing to make these accusations, what folks don't know is that they were clearing the land and making things possible. Of course, it's just like a construction company. You go to a site, you have to set up. You have to set up so that you can do the task, whatever the task is for the day, for the week, or whatever you're going to take care of this project for it at this moment in time. And that's what Todd and Alicia were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so to clear the land, I mean, it was just full of trees, beautiful land. But they had to clear the land because the plan was to, once they got the area cleared away that they were trying to clear away, then they were going to put their mobile home there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But nobody gave them the chance.
It's supposed to be a free country. I don't know what
Supposed to
happened.
be. And the crazy part is that her grandfather, he assisted them. He
Mm-hmm.
gave them the generator so they could have lights when they first went out there to start working on the land.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just I don't understand what's going on.
Oh, I'm so
But I
sorry.
know God does not like ugly, and He will fix things.
Oh, he does. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes.
Yes, definitely, most definitely.
Hey, if people have any questions, how can they reach you?
They can reach me through my Gmail,
Okay.
which is Queen Scholar. That's spelled QUEENSKOLAR 1234@gmail.com. Or you can call me on my phone, 347-522-6610. And you can call me anytime or send me a text message. I do respond.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the store, 7-Eleven, you can reach me anytime.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I'm a night owl, so I'm
uh,
available at any time.
I'm glad you came on and gave this update. I will keep you in my prayers as well.
Thank you so much, Marianne.
And don't jump off. Slam the Gavel's a podcast to help the public understand what really goes on in these family courtrooms. I am your host, Marianne Petrie, author of Dismantling Family Court Corruption, Why Taking the Kids Was Not Enough, and Cry Out for Justice, Poems of Truth. Please join us again here with Deborah Hunter in the future and other exciting guests. Thank you again, Deborah.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Thank you.